on a road trip, heading to Heathcote Botanical Gardens to the Jim Smith Memorial Bonsai Collection. And you've got to see this collection. It's absolutely amazing. It takes me about an hour to get there, but through technology, you'll be there in just a few seconds. So here we are at the James Smith Bonsai Collection Gallery. And this is just an amazing place. He's got some amazing trees. So we're just going to start. So here is a weeping fig, Ficus benjamina, in training since 1986. This is a Texas ebony. They have Christmas lights on. I don't know why, but Texas ebony. The background isn't that great on this guy. In training since 1980. This is a Ficus retusa. In training since 1987. Willow leaf ficus, in training since 1980. The trunk on this is about 6 inches across. So here's my hand. Huge. Another willow leaf ficus, in training since 1976. And look at the trunk on this thing, just absolutely massive. Ficus exotica. Amazing. And this is a Nia buxifolia. Look at the pads on this thing. Amazing. In training since 1990. So almost over 30 years old. Here we have a Green Island ficus, in training since 1980. Jim started doing bonsai. Oh no, I'm going to sneeze. Jim started doing bonsai in 1950. So that's a long time. So here we have an orange jasmine, in training since 2018. So this is a fairly new tree. I do know there are some of these trees that are not Jim's. Like this one is actually owned by the curator of this collection, Tom Kehoe. Grown from a clipping in 2003. So that's pretty amazing. Here we have a natal fig, banyan style, in training since 1980. Here's another willow leaf ficus, in training since 1974. Here's a bougainvillea, in training since 1989. They've all got Christmas lights. Well, not all of them, but some of them. And this is a Buceta spinosa, dwarf black olive, in the windswept style. Also very old, in training since 1992. And this one is just absolutely amazing. This is the Portulacaria afra, a dwarf jade. And once again, here's my hand. So that's how big this thing is. It's just absolutely massive. It's at least 4 feet high. There's another willow leaf fig. Just amazing, amazing trees. In training since 1976. And another willow leaf fig. In training since 83. This is another dwarf black olive. Doesn't have a placard, but this is a cascade style. And another huge, oops, try to keep the shadow of my head out of there. In training since 1980. Here's another forest of narrow-leaf ficus. Check this guy out. Brazilian rain tree. Absolutely massive. In training since 1979. And once again, the trunk is just huge, huge, huge. There's my hand. The trunk is at least 5 inches across. Another narrow-leaf ficus since 1979. I mean, it's just amazing. Every tree is just absolutely spectacular. This is a green island. Another huge tree. I do believe it's a yamadori with some dead wood, growing over some dead wood. If we can see that. I know the sun is kind of funky. This is a dwarf schefflera in the typical banyan style, how they grow. And this actually has seed, immature seed. Amazing. Here is another willow leaf fig in training since 1989. Just the trunks on these things are absolutely amazing. And then we go to here, another willow leaf fig. Just absolutely spectacular. And here's another dwarf schefflera. Thing's got to easily be 3 feet high, 4 feet high, and 5 feet across. Here's another willow leaf fig that has been defoliated fairly recently. And next we have a Fukian tea forest, which is really quite cool. Created by Yuji Yoshimura, styled in 1976. So very cool little forest. The tallest tree is only about maybe 7 or 8 inches. Another massive willow leaf ficus in training since 74. And here's another black olive. Very nice tree with great branch placement, and you can see when I talk about having space between the branches, that's what I'm talking about. Then we have, I think this is the back of this tree. So let me go this way. Let me go here. This is the front of this tree. Here we go. This is another forest planting of willow leaf ficus, also has been defoliated fairly recently. Another willow leaf ficus with just a massive, massive trunk. The trunk's got to be 14 inches across. Once again, here's my hand. So just huge, huge, huge. Here's another amazing willow leaf ficus in training since 76. And this is a Texas ebony. I don't think this was a gem tree. There are some trees in here that are not gem trees. Here's another willow leaf ficus with a little, I don't know what you'd call it, a little sculpture, a little boat, a little house made out of sandstone. And then the tree. This is a crepe myrtle. in training since 2002. Obviously a very old landscape tree that's all hollow. That was then, we have another hollow right here that was then trained as a bonsai. But still from 2002, that's 20 years. Another bougainvillea. I do believe this bougainvillea, look at this, how big it is. This bougainvillea was actually at the National Arboretum for a while, but it wasn't doing well. So they brought it back to Florida. But I've seen this tree in bloom, and oh my God, it is just absolutely spectacular. Once again, just massive, massive trunk. 10 to 12 inches easily. This is a tiger bark ficus, Ficus retusa, in the banyan style. Very nicely done. And this is a pink tabebuia. I have some tabebuia seedlings that I'm attempting to grow, but boy, nothing like this. Of course, this is an extremely old tree in training since 2000. I don't think this is a gem tree either. There are some trees that have been gifted by other people that are in this collection. But what an amazing trunk on that baby. Truly amazing. This is a water jasmine, Rhytii religiosa, in the upright style. In training since 1980. And it's doing typical water jasmine behavior, suckering at the base. So you're fighting the suckers on these guys all the time, but still a beautiful, beautiful tree. This is a green buttonwood that looks like it may have gotten some damage from the hurricane. It's definitely not looking that great. Harvested from the Florida Keys, in training since 1995. And here's another willow leaf ficus, in training since 1980. And this is a Simpson stopper, in training since 1983, also with the Christmas lights. They keep the Christmas lights on all year round, because I've seen pictures of the gardens with the Christmas lights on, so maybe they just keep them on. This is a Ficus religiosa, fairly rare bonsai. You can see they have a very distinct leaf with that drip point that trees have evolved in the tropics, where it's constantly raining for the water to drip off that tip. But another huge trunk. And here we have a green buttonwood in the Cascade style, in training since 1978. Harvested from the Keys and styled by Gloria Moore, who was one of the founders of Heathcote Gardens. Here's another kind of squat Nerofolia. Nerofolia was Jim's go-to tree. He loved Nerofolias. And he had some magnificent specimens, there's no question about that. Another willow leaf ficus. And a green buttonwood. Look at the deadwood on there. Buttonwood has extremely hard wood, so the deadwood remains for many, 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 many years. Another willow leaf ficus. Absolutely spectacular. I love the motion on this tree. And another willow leaf ficus. A twin trunk. And look at the roots on this thing. Just amazing, amazing, amazing. And yet another. Oh no, this is a Ficus exotica. It is not a willow leaf. And this is a forest. In training since '82. So all of these trees are decades old. This is another green island with an amazing trunk. Styled since 1998. And look at this willow leaf. Just absolutely amazing. Styled since 1974, so that's one of the oldest trees in here. And then we have yet another forest planting of willow leaf ficus. And this is another very interesting tree, a gumbo limbo, which you really don't see too many gumbo limbos styled as bonsai either, because the leaves, I wonder if I can get a better look at this thing. The leaves are huge, so being miniaturized this small is a pretty interesting task. So you definitely I forget where I've been. So let's go over here. And this is supposed to be the weekend of the festival, but they decided to cancel it because of the damage they got from the hurricane. I came because I got a phone message that it was going to be open. So here I am. I'm the only person here other than employees. This is another willow leaf ficus. Hard to see because of the backdrop. This is a hackberry forest. Very interesting. Looks like it has also been defoliated very recently, but coming back with some new leaves. And oh, I don't know if I can do this. I have to do it from the side. This is a Baobab, actually, which is, I believe, is an African tree. It's going to be hard with the sun behind us. So here's another willow leaf ficus, massive, massive, massive trunk. And yet another just spectacular willow leaf ficus. And Ficus retusa, they call this tiger bark because the bark has little striations that make it look like tiger stripes. So a lot of times you'll see these called tiger bark retusa. Another green island ficus in a very interesting style. Kind of comes up and then swoops back down. Can I get a better look at it? The sun is right behind me, so now it's a little difficult. Here's another willow leaf ficus in training since '78. Another just spectacular willow leaf ficus. Suriname cherry. I have Suriname cherry in my yard that produces seed everywhere, but certainly nothing like this. And this is an amazing green buttonwood here. Estimated to be more than 200 years old, although it was in training since 2004, so 20 years in training. And the salt water and the sand and the wind creates all this dead wood. And since buttonwood is such hard wood, it remains for many, many years. Then we have a bougainvillea, another bougainvillea, which is also just absolutely gorgeous. In training since 1980. And here is a cascade dwarf jade. Cascade comes way down. Very interesting tree with another huge trunk. in training since 1989. Another Green Island ficus in the semi-cascade style. It's got that one branch that moves down below the pot. And here is another, what they call natal fig, which I believe is Ficus bagladensis, in training since 1980. Can I get in the shadow of the palm tree? And maybe there we go. And another just unbelievably massive willow leaf ficus. I mean, look at the trunk on this thing. Just unreal. Beautiful, beautiful tree. And here's the bougainvillea. Another just amazing tree. Now, unlike buttonwood, bougainvillea actually rots, so a lot of this you can see where the bark has rotted away, which is an interesting effect on bougainvillea. Here's another willow leaf ficus. This is a Botanical. This tree was actually styled by John Naka back in 1973. Just absolutely beautiful, beautiful tree. Botanicas are very interesting. I think they're unique because they flower and produce a fruit right off the trunk. So right off the main trunk you'll find flowers and fruit. I'm not sure if this one ever has, but that's what they do. They flower and fruit right off the trunk, not like at the ends of branches like most trees. And here's another narrow leaf ficus. Absolutely spectacular. And another bougainvillea. Another narrow leaf ficus, in training since '81. This, I think, was like a root cutting. So what you do is he cuts the roots off, and then all of the trunks have sprouted from the roots. So this was one giant root ball, and then all of the trunks have sprouted from that root ball. Of course, that was many, many years ago. I'm going to pause right now because I'm sort of at the end, but I haven't finished all the trees. So this is another bougainvillea. Look at, not a bougainvillea, buttonwood. Look at the dead wood on this thing. Just absolutely amazing. And it's actually got fruit. These are the fruit right there. That little guy right there. In training since 1984. Here's another willow leaf ficus with a hollow trunk. You could probably call that uro, even though uro is usually round, but uro is basically a Japanese term for a scar in a trunk that will never heal, and it just makes kind of a hollow. And here's another tiger bark retusa. Absolutely beautiful. And another willow leaf ficus that just has a trunk that's just unbelievable. And it's on just such a thin slab. Just amazing, absolutely amazing. And we have a smaller Nerofolia forest. This is probably also a root cutting, where you just saw the roots off and then let them sprout, and then each sprout becomes a trunk. This is one of Jim's most famous trees, one of his original elephant bush. Once again, at least a 6 or 8 inch trunk, and the sun is wreaking havoc on it too. So Here's a hackberry, also collected with a huge hollow trunk. And the lights are on for what they call the Festival of Lights that they have during Christmas. And they're just getting them all staged, so that's why the lights are on. And another narrow-leaf ficus. This thing has got to be 5 feet high. Just unbelievable. And another tiger bark in banyan style. They make awesome bonsai too. And here's another willow leaf ficus that has been very newly defoliated, probably within the past couple days, because it's got no new growth on it at all. But look at the branch structure on this thing. Look at the ramification. Just the way it splits and then splits and then splits and then splits again. And that's how you really get the amazing branch structure on your bonsai. And this tree is what they call mother. This was Jim's very first Portulacaria that all the others came from, except I think the 2 monster ones. They were being grown in the ground by a lady who just wanted rid of them, so she basically just gave them to him. Pretty amazing. This tree has been in training since 1957. So the very first Portulacaria he ever got, and all the other Portulicarias come from this tree, hence the term mother. And then this is a water jasmine, Rhytii religiosa, in the formal upright style. Quite nice. Formal upright is not an easy style, especially in Florida. We don't have the spruce and the spurs, the spruce and firs that you can grow up north in that formal style. So I'm now going to move to a different area and we'll continue. So this is a huge bougainvillea, just absolutely massive. I mean, check that thing out, just unbelievable. And it's also got some strapping here, because I guess one of these limbs was falling over. Maybe the whole thing was falling over. Here's a Ficus exotica, kind of a sumo style. And look at this nerfolia here, just absolutely magnificent. Just unbelievable, gorgeous. And here's a green island with kind of an exposed root style. And also got Christmas lights. A bunch of them have Christmas lights. Here's another willow leaf. And another willow leaf that's been defoliated. And they have a little sign here that says, "This tree is not dead," because it's been defoliated. Because this is the Botanical Gardens, where a lot of people just from the general public show up and they see a tree with no leaves. So they have that little sign explaining that the defoliation process is part of the process of keeping bonsai small. I just did it on a narrow leaf ficus that I have in one of my videos. I'll leave a link to that video. Okay, now I need to pause so I can go to another place. This is another bougainvillea. Very interesting tree, kind of a semi-cascade. And another willow leaf ficus that's just absolutely spectacular. In training since 1975. And here's a placard on Jim and his collection and what is a bonsai. And it's interesting because the tree that's pictured in the middle of this placard is this tree right here. Once again, the sun is wreaking havoc on it. Absolutely gorgeous. This is also in training since 1981. Have you ever seen a Portulacaria with a trunk that big? Here's my hand again. At least 14, 16 inches across. Here's a much smaller dwarf jade. Still in training since 1978. And another Narrow-leaf ficus. Like I said, that was his go-to tree. He had probably the best collection of narrow-leaf ficus anywhere in the world. And yet another one, forest planting since 1974. Just absolutely gorgeous. And yet another narrow-leaf ficus. And once again, the trunk, this trunk is just, here's my hand, 16, 18 inches across. Just crazy, unbelievable. And we have a few more. Check this one out. It's sitting on just such a shallow pot, just a tray. And yet look at the root ball on this thing. And once again, a gigantic, massive narrow-leaf ficus. So if you live in tropical areas, or you have the ability to keep your trees warm in the winter, the narrow-leaf ficus is just an absolutely fantastic bonsai. And another, in training since 1975, absolutely gorgeous. And then the last one, a Ficus microcarpa called Green Gem, in training since 1982. So that's it for the Jim Smith collection. Maybe it's serendipitous that the festival actually got canceled, because I've been able to do this all by myself with no background noise or people walking in front or anything like that. So I think I'm still going to come back. They rescheduled the festival, I believe, 2 weeks from now, the 26th, 27th, something like that. So there you go, the Jim Smith bonsai collection at Heathcote Botanical Gardens. Absolutely magnificent. If you ever get a chance, you need to come and see him in person. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get all my videos that I make. And I think I will come back during the festival. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.